Sleepless Moon is the world's first Chinese plus Western fusion opera. In particular, Cantonese opera plus Italian opera. We're trying to also bring a message of peace. I'm a businessman. I travel quite a lot, especially to the United States. So obviously I can see the changes in the relationship between US and China and also geopolitically. And I worry a lot. In the old days, there used to be a lot of official cultural exchanges. But nowadays, actually, I think the frequency has gone down a lot. The idea came from a party 2 years ago. And they brought several wonderful tenors, and I brought Miss Lin. And she sang a beautiful song, and the tenors were so impressed, so they said, well, why don't we have a cross-cultural cooperation? It's really a great opportunity to showcase Hong Kong's unique ability to fuse Eastern and Western culture.
I actually got invited by Eddie to come to the show that he did last year. And he gave out like 6 free tickets. And I was thinking, hey, who should I give them to? And then I heard about Lora, and I introduced her to Eddie. After that, I actually don't really know what happened. 1 year later, which is right now, here I am, and I'm watching the show, and they're performing.
咪高8度啊啱啱。
高8度好高喎。
高過第。
仲唔夠高？
So I met him in his office, and he talked to me about this project that has been, in his mind for over a year. He wanted to combine Cantonese opera with Western opera in a new creation to promote cultural exchange, to send the message of peace and love. And I thought it's really meaningful and special. So I told him I'm very interested, let's explore more. So we brainstormed for a few months on how to proceed with the projects. And then once he decided that let's do a show in November 28th. On November 28th, he has booked the Sichu Center Grand Theater. And he said, why not showcase the first act of Sleepless Moon in this occasion? And I was like, yeah, let's do that. And that's when things really started rolling.
Yeah, I think there's some truth to the fact that as you get older, you want to find your roots. You want to learn more about your family history, about your cultural background. I grew up in the West. I really didn't know much about Chinese opera before. So it was a bit of curiosity. Because my grandfather was a performer. So then, I did some research. And oh my God, I found recordings of him from 100 years ago, Ye Song Ging Leung in Hu Hong. So it's not even sung in Cantonese, but sounds almost like, Peking opera. Sounds like Mandarin. I think Sleepless Moon is very exciting. It's the world's first fusion opera. I don't think all future, say, Cantonese operas should be fusion operas. I think there should be updated forms of Cantonese opera. That actually was the case, like I said, 100 years ago, up until maybe 1960s, the height of the art form. So they were very innovative and very serious about their work. And they also brought a lot of international elements. They didn't care where it came from. They just wanted the show to be beautiful. So I'm sure they watched a lot of Broadway musicals. That was a glorious period, but blink of an eye, that's like 60 years ago. So in my humble opinion, Cantonese opera has stopped evolving.
Eddie has an idea of combining the Flower Princess with Turandot. It's because Turandot is an Italian opera that is very famous by Puccini and is set in China. It's about a princess. The Flower Princess is the most famous Cantonese opera. And so the starting point for the music is the main theme from the Flower Princess and also the most famous theme from Turandot, which is Nessun Dorma. So I think we are just like taking a further step into merging the two art forms. Actually, in this line, there are three parts. It's this fourth interval, and then there's this three notes. I call this the fluttering motive, and then it goes back to the fourth interval. So I kind of take this line in three different motifs, or two motifs actually, to develop throughout the whole opera.
I came with no expectation. How do I end up weeping? Oh, artist sing with new eyes.
I actually really love how Cantonese opera have not just music but also very important lyrics, and also the martial arts and the dance and the costumes. You know, they are equally important as the music. Whereas in Western opera, maybe the focus is more on the music. I try to match the music with the lyrics and the story as much as I can. And then also allow space for martial arts performance, allow space for dancing.
跟住冚落嚟，跟住開左部，叉，劏開自己。 吸氣，放隻手上去先，呼變身，上嚟拍。
音樂上面頭先我覺得Henry 太勁啦，阿詠詩你把聲唔夠大啊！
係唔係有咪？到時
我知啊，但係你要教你嗰個大聲啲，你個細聲啲啊！
有音響就 sound designer，
你唔夠佢大聲。
我點都唔會夠佢大聲㗎，即係我呢啲可以，睇下。
係啊，我就會發聲方法
唔
同，但係有咪佢可能會搶啲嘅喎，
因為佢
個音頻係高啲嘅喎。
係啊，佢會高音啲，
所以其實又好難講喎。
所以真係要試啊！我哋到時。
因為其實呢樣嘢全世界未試過，我哋而家就係要試下嗰個。
in two， 所以慢一倍 for that。嚟多一次，盡量聽多少少，盡量齊啲。I guess to do this brand new music with very traditional Chinese opera musicians is quite a challenge. The key difference for them is that when they usually play Cantonese opera is in unison. So every instrument plays the same line at the same time. And in Western opera, we rarely have unison moments. It's not a very common feature. And usually the musicians play harmony. They play different lines. Just as stylistically, Chinese instrumentalists, they are used to playing a lot of slide. It's kind of in a different style to the Western music. So we have to tune it and balance both when we create this fusion opera. Because in the orchestra, we have both Chinese and Western instrumentalists, and they are not used to playing together. It's quite a new challenge for them to play together.
啱啱馮工係咪太快啊？
你覺得太快？OK， 可以慢翻少少，慢翻少少。
可以。
下一首歌有個。
你想鳳冠慢啲，咁個 tempo 就喺個 cello 度。
係。
林泉噔噔噔噔噔噔噔噔噔噔噔，不如夜冷你自己嚟得唔得啊？夜冷你自己嘅。
清唱。
你得嘅，你得嘅。寂寞非我想像，即係佢哋拉完嗰啲嘅嘢。嘣嘣都係自己。
好啊。
唱一唱。噔噔都係自己。On tempo。可以靠信，依度心中了可依靠就唔好太自由啦。
好啊，好啊，好啊。
簡單好多，簡單好多，跟到同普通 opera 一樣嘅，都係。
大家都係 opera 啫，我哋 Chinese opera 嘛。
一樣，所以完全一樣。
佢都係夾唱歌啫嘛。
係。
一樣嘅嘢嚟。
我係 David， 你好嗎？我中文麻麻地，但都識少少唱歌。
I think most difficult is like to understand those two styles a little bit more so that I can let the crossover more smooth. I'm trying to just adopt some of the traditional style of the Cantonese opera lyrics into the work that we are creating now. I'm trying to use some rhymes that are more often used in Cantonese opera, maybe some words that will open up the mouth so that they can sing easier. So I'm trying to put those rhymes into the work that we are doing.
好，我考慮一下。
I think that's the characteristic of Chinese also. So for example, like we can express like a story using 4-word idioms. Like for example, 一石二鳥, that's like killing 2 birds with 1 stone, right? So you see, I only use 一石二鳥, only 4 words. But I can tell the story of like killing 2 birds with 1 stone. So I can kind of like make the meaning of the lyrics like I can elaborate the meaning more using fewer words, fewer syllables, fewer musical notes than English. So that's why I think for Chinese lyrics, like we pay attention to the lyrics a lot because it's very meaningful. And it's something that you have to kind of think about it. It's something that just like you listen to it and you have to think about it and then you understand.
是淚，半身旁灑腿。
The way Cantonese opera expresses emotion is very different. It's kind of through the percussion or through certain patterns, which are like templates in the Cantonese opera they use. Like when you hear this pattern, it means fear. When you hear this pattern, it means sadness. There is a lot more framework that I have to follow. And it's not just following the instincts, but following the textbook rules. I would say the rules are more fixed. Whereas for Western opera, you can have thick textbooks, lots of theory, but you can break the rules. But I feel that for Cantonese opera, if you break the rules, you will see a lot of resistance and complaints and even disgust. Like people will think that you are ruining their arts because you're not following that rule. And also just culturally, I think a lot of Chinese believe that the ancestors are always the best. They are just passing on their knowledge to the next generations. So we should follow them and imitate them, and that would be the best practice. Whereas the Western culture kind of encourage people to progress and improve and evolve over time. And like what we learn from our ancestors in the Western world is kind of a reference. Like we should not imitate Mozart or Beethoven. We should evolve from that and have innovative stuff, and that would be perceived as the best practice. It's very different mindsets.
咁啊，以茶代酒，誒，敬大家一杯，身體健康，預祝恭喜發財，我呢排中意講世界和平，係啊，呢排好唔和平。
佢呢個咧係香腰嘅音樂，佢就一位朋友寫嗰個歌詞，
跟住會變嘅。
佢寫得好好嘅個歌詞。
朱師傅點睇啊？大膽係咪？帝女花改唔改得啊？
你哋睇住改唔改到？
嗱，驚唔驚啊？
點樣先為之加得好睇咧？
即係有感情，最緊要代表嗰幾句曲咧，我好凄涼㗎啦咁啊！你玩出嚟好凄涼，即係有生命嘅。
咁出名嘅戲，你改得幾好都好啦。如果改到唔係佢哋聽慣嗰啲咧，
都係鬧嘅，
就係嘥咗你嘅心機。
一改完啲人就有意見㗎嘛。
因為佢哋係喺我哋由細到大咧，係陪住我哋長大，所以冇得輸過呢句嘢。咁但係咧，如果你譬如咧，你有一啲好多你睇到外國嘅歌劇啊，或者佢哋有好多嘅戲劇啊，佢哋嘅意識係好吸引嘅。你將佢用呢一個方式去做咧，一出咗嚟個效果咧，好多觀眾可能好接受嘅。
我覺得咧，亦都可以逐步嚟嘅，即係如果你話想粵劇觀眾融入去咧，你完全新嘅作品當然係好啦，可以先用我哋嗰啲傳統嘅小曲啦，好多咩紅豆子啊，咩平湖秋月啊嗰啲咁樣，咁你可以喺啲裏邊再加啲配樂。因為我哋粵劇想去做呢啲嘢咧，都幾個有人才，但冇咁嘅時間。
你哋嗰個設計好好嘅，咁啊，所以有好多年青人好中意咯。咁啊，如果你話希望喺我哋粵劇嗰度可以能夠得到你哋嘅幫助，我哋有啲新嘅發展咧，其實係一步步咧，佢哋會覺得唔覺就跟人行咗啦。
那 天，看着你演那長平公主，太讓我眠。我在那瞬間被迷住了，用最差的中文邀請你見面。越滿時越缺時，亦於盛世之下纏綿。一世也抱着入眠，將愛情兌現。你跟我說那段誓言，地老天荒都絕不變，讓我傾盡所能，愛着你如福分。只有
好正。
你都好犀利啊！
有你粵曲有希望啊！飲杯，好嘢，飲啊！
藝術有生命啊嘛，係啊。Guitar is born.
It seems like something particularly Hong Kong that you can really do here because it's not a superficial understanding of any of those cultures that's at play here. Almost nowhere else in the world perhaps could this be done. And of course it's a great moment to do that. I'm excited to see where the opera goes. There's a great purpose here, but I want to see the story go beyond the infatuation stage. Someplace that can speak to our moment, maybe with greater gravity, within the context of the romance.
It's quite common to see each other as sort of exotic, both in the West, Chinese opera, and in China, Western opera. And I think this dialogue is not only fascinating, but a clear sign of Hong Kong's special place in the world. I can imagine, I think of very few places where we could have these projects flourishing. I love the way in which this first act integrates a story in which these different styles complement each other and really bring an experience, a way of worldview, I think, that is unique to Hong Kong. And I cannot wait to see the rest.
You know, but in the end of the day, I think that art unites, and I'm very, very supportive of the project. You know, I'm really looking forward to see it in its kind of full bloom, in its full, in its full production, because I do believe that us kind of getting to know kind of each other's culture is very important. So I have to say, I feel incredibly privileged to be a part of it, to be here for that first night.
My plan is to have at least a couple of performances here in Hong Kong, preferably first, but possibly also in the Greater Bay Area. And then longer term is to tour in both China and ultimately, bring it to the world to fulfill my original mission, to say that I want to use this as a vehicle to spread the message of peace and love.
試下。